What's up, everyone? My phone just alerted me that we went live, so LinkedIn is working today. Thank you, LinkedIn. We appreciate you. If you are here for the first time, this is the Friday Live with Lauren show. Thank you for tuning in. I have a repeat guest joining me today, and I am so stinking excited to bring her on. But if you have been here before, thank you for coming back. We appreciate you so much. And you guys know if you don't tell us in the comments that you're here or where you're from, we don't know and we can't say hello. So start dropping in the comments where you're at, where you're from, and let me bring on the phenomenal, the incredible, the one, the only, Leslie Venetz. What's up, Leslie? I'm so excited to have you on today.
I am always excited for an opportunity to chat with you, and I can't believe I'm a return guest. I'm like one of few? How many people have you had on more than once?
So Tom Slocum has been on 2 times. Maybe
Ooh.
just Tom.
VIP.
Okay, if you're watching and you were on the show more than once and your name's not Tom, somebody tag Tom Slocum so he knows we're talking about him. But
yes,
if you're watching and I'm forgetting that you were on the show more than once, yell at me right now in the comments. But I don't think I'm wrong. Leslie, I think it's just you and Tom.
Amazing, love it. What an honor.
Ask your questions in the chat, y'all. You know what to do. And Tom just got named a LinkedIn top voice like you, right?
So close.
Sales, cold calling.
He actually got 2 pretty cool things recently. So there's 3 different types of kind of like honors or badges you can get on LinkedIn, and the top one is LinkedIn Top Voice. I think they give out like 10 of those a year. But what Tom got named first was a LinkedIn Insider. Ooh. Which is also super exclusive, and it's for folks that talk about LinkedIn products a lot and have a lot of he has a lot of LinkedIn sales nav knowledge that he shares. That's a really big deal. And then after that, he got a Community Voices badge. And I don't know if folks have seen prompts to contribute to collaborative articles that might be showing up on their news feed. If you contribute to enough collaborative articles and get your responses upvoted, meaning folks found them helpful, then you become eligible for a Community Voices badge. So between Tom and I, we have all of the badges. We are doing all of the things.
I've been contributing to more articles, so maybe I'll get go upvote my contributions, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I'll get one of those things eventually too. Share the show if you're watching. Thank you so much. We definitely have some people tuning in. Let's see where everybody's from. Oh, look, my mom's the first one here today. Hi, Mom. Thanks so much. What's up, Lauren? Second time tuning in. Lauren, I think you won the signed book last week. I have the books from Jonathan. He had to go out of town. So if you'll DM me, I'll get your address and get that shipped over to you. Matt, what's up? Matt from Michigan. Matt was on the show. Harvest Chocolate. Shout out. Melissa is listening on her lunch break. She just started a new job. Everybody say congratulations to Melissa in the comments. New job, 3rd day. What's up, Lisa? Happy Friday, everyone. That is true. Chris Jarvis, thanks for tuning in. I know that LinkedIn let you know. Matt, only once for you. Yeah, Matt only came on the show once. But Matt, that you had a really good episode. You gave away some chocolate. Leslie, he gave away chocolate on his episode.
Ooh.
Elizabeth, I tried to listen in Epcot, but Mickey's Wi-Fi isn't cooperating. Happy Friday. Enjoy Disney. Don't watch. You can watch the replay. Tom Slocum got LinkedIn Best Goatee. Yes, Dr. Jim. Yes, he did.
I love that. I'm not even in the running for that one.
Jonathan there's Jonathan. He's traveling. Hi from North Carolina. What's up? I'm going to get those books shipped out. Y'all give me your addresses. And hi. And my Aunt Billy's here too. Look, I got all my family tuning in today.
I love that.
Okay. I know. You got to love family who supports you. All right. While we're here, let's follow Leslie on LinkedIn and TikTok. You will see that rolling on the bottom. If y'all don't know, Leslie's kind of a big deal on TikTok. A little bit. Okay, y'all know when I do the switcheroo, it makes me big first. So hi. No, we're gonna let Leslie, why don't you go ahead and give us a little introduction? I don't ever think you need one, but there's definitely people in my audience who don't know who you are. So let's give you a little bit of an introduction for anybody tuning in.
Well, hi, hello, and special thank you for anybody that showed up today, even if you don't already know me. My name is Leslie, and I create sales content, and I am a outbound specialist. So I have my own company, Sales Team Builder, and I do B2B sales training and consulting specific to outbound led go to market motions. And I also am such a big Lauren Sermon fan. The day that you got your own GIF on LinkedIn, I lost my dang mind. I felt like I knew a celebrity.
That's so funny because now, like, you were the first person to ever point out to me that it was somewhere else, right? Maybe the second. But Leslie, I think like every other Monday it goes trending now, and I'm like, y'all, stop. So now I'm trying to post new ones and see if I can get a new one to trend. I have one that's mission accomplished, so you guys can search for mission accomplished and find one. And then there's one that's like Tuesday face, which is like the face you make when you realize it's only Tuesday. So I'm making more. I'd like to do one for every day of the week. So if you have an idea for Wednesday, Thursday, what Friday, let me know. I'll start creating more. Is it a GIF or a GIF? We've talked about this before in the show. What do you say, Leslie?
I say GIF, but
There's a lot of people who think it's GIF, like
I
peanut
think
butter.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter, but I just always like to hear people's opinions. I think it matters like where you're from in the country. Depends on how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I feel like people would know what you're talking about one way or another.
100%.
I also say a lot of weird, very weird words, like being from Montana, so close to the Canadian border, and then moving to Chicago and having spent most of my career working for British companies. Even sometimes the words that come out of my mouth, I find confusing.
Oh. Hi, Mark from Boca. You're next to me, local. Congrats, Melissa, for your new job. Tom Slocum's in the house.
Hi,
Tom says
Tom.
thank you. Mark is off. Wouldn't miss it. Thanks, Mark. Okay, this is what I was trying to get to. Dr. Jim says Leslie Venetz is a big deal. Period. Yes. Leslie Venetz is a legend. Look, they're showing up for you. Tuesday is always the longest day. Yes, it is, Jamie. It is always the longest day. I'm fairly certain that the creator of the GIF says GIF. Okay, Courtney, Courtney, can you give us some knowledge? Who is the creator of the GIF? Just asking. Okay, we are going to get into some real topics today. Leslie and I just love hanging out with each other. Before the show, we were already talking about other stuff that we want to talk about live. But really quick, the word of the day is impossible. We're going to talk about this for a minute. So I have a mantra, right? With my son every day, every morning. You can do anything. And when you and I started planning this show and we started talking about this topic, in my head, I realized that I have to add something to the end of this mantra that we repeat every day. Because nothing is quite impossible, right? But it is impossible to do everything. So I think he and I need to start saying, you can do anything, but you cannot do everything. So I'm going to let you take it away, but talk to people about what it feels like to not be able to do everything.
Yeah. When we were talking about what we wanted to cover in this show, I was thinking about topics that are going to be deeply relatable to everybody. And one thing I'm pretty sure, correct me in the comments if you're maybe the exclusion to this, but one thing I think most people have felt is that sense of not being enough. Maybe you're absolutely crushing it at work, but you feel like you're letting your family down. Or maybe you've decided to take a sabbatical to work on your mental health or spend more time with friends and family, but then you feel like you're not really like doing enough professionally, right? I think as humans, we constantly are being torn between different wants and different needs and different truths and different journeys. And one of the sort of conclusions that we came to in preparing for the show is that as somebody who is a multipotentialite or multi-hyphenate, however you describe it, I find it especially hard to not want to do all of the things because I'm such a big input person. And what I have really had to come to terms with, particularly as a full-time founder, is that if I want to do all the things, it means I'm going to do all of them kind of shitty. So I really have to decide what is most important and stay focused on those critical pieces, like those critical deliverables.
Okay. I was making sure you were adjusting something and that you were done.
I am. No,
I didn't want to cut you off.
Like the weirdest light here. I don't know. It's in fall. It's so hard for me to record in the afternoons because I get like back sun even when my blinds are drawn. Maybe at some point it'll really start radiating and I'll just like
it's like a halo.
Angelic. Yeah.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful, Leslie. No, okay, so if you guys heard Leslie, she just brought up a term that we're gonna talk about. Multipotentialite. Have you heard that before? Comment in the comments. Let me know right now. Have you heard that term? Do you know what we're about to talk about today? Because we're going to get into it, and I will explain to you what it is. Leslie and I will dive in, but let us know. Have you heard this term before? Dr. Jim says GIF stands for graphics interchange format, so not GIF. Courtney says she does not know who the creator is, but Chris agrees that the guy called it GIF. Okay, so listen, y'all, we're gonna go with GIF for now.
Yeah, and also graphics, like that. Graphics isn't GIF. That's GRIF. I don't know, Dr. Jen. The best comment right now is from Jonathan, who else is obsessed with the Roman Empire. Have you been following that trend on TikTok?
Yes.
It is funny. I want to hear the answer to that question. How often, drop a comment, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Once a day, once a week, once a month? Absolutely never. I need to know, what is the answer to that question? How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Okay, Leslie wants to know. Good comment, Jonathan. Jamie, I am nodding my head. So yes, Jamie has heard. Mark has heard. Okay, so a few people have heard. Yeah. Answer Leslie if you know about the TikTok trend about the Roman Empire, and how many times a day you think about the Roman Empire. Okay. Don't forget, you can ask your questions in the chat. There's not many times you get the opportunity to ask Leslie a question and have her potentially answer it. We only answer the ones we want to answer that are appropriate. I always warn you. So ask something inappropriate, we will not answer it. I will not put it on the screen. Okay, moving into it. We're going to go into the struggle of being a multipotentialite. Now, really, really quick. Multipotentialite is a term coined by Emily Wapnick to describe individuals with many interests and creative pursuits. They are known to have 3 superpowers: idea synthesis, rapid learning, and adaptability. So now we're going to talk about the struggles of identifying as this. One, like Leslie, talk to us about, like, when did you know this was something you had? Like, is this something you have? Is this something you identify with? Did somebody diagnose you as this? Like, tell us all of the things.
No, it's not like a diagnosis because it's not like, I'm not broken, right? Like, it's nothing to like treat.
No, it's great.
I think it's more, Lauren, about acknowledging how my brain operates and what excites me, and then making accommodations for that. So when I think about being a multipotentialite, it is a superpower for me in the context of sales as a profession, because I have been able to industry hop. So I have sold, 4-figure deals to 6-figure deals. I have sold to, like mom and pop shops, through SMB to mid-market to C-suite Fortune 100. I have, sold one call close sales cycles to like, multi-month sales cycles. And because I thrive on just getting all those new ideas and concepts and learning, that's really fun for me. That is exciting for me. For other people, they might find that really stressful or overwhelming, and they might prefer to stay in one space and go super, super, super deep. And like, that's what gets their brain revved up. Not for me. So I've been able to use it as a superpower in my sales life. But like on the other side, I might tell you, like XYZ is my favorite, like, or like, here's a better example. Like there's a guy called Brandon Sanderson, and I've read, I don't know, 10 of his books. I don't know anything about him. So I'm like, oh, that's like one of my favorite authors. And people are like, say more. And I'm like, oh no, I don't, I just know the one thing. So like, so it can also hurt me because I'm so busy collecting the inputs from so many different places that sometimes even when it's necessary to go deep, I don't go deep because that does not excite me as much as learning something new and exciting. So I think it can be a superpower. And I also think it can be something that you need to acknowledge as like it could create potential gaps that you need to counteract.
I definitely also think it depends on your personality, right? And what you do. In sales, it could definitely be something that I could see being a superpower. But if I was a specialized surgeon, maybe not, or something like that.
Maybe not. Hopefully not.
Maybe not. Okay, we had some people answer your question, so I'm gonna go back really
Oh my
quick.
gosh.
Okay, so Jonathan heard of it, yes. Melissa says that the line of Panda Express is long. We're keeping her entertained. You're welcome. More entertainment to come. Mark says he's a specialized generalist. Dr. Jim says he thinks about bacon much more often than the Roman Empire. The guy who created the GIF, Steve Willite. I don't know how you say that. Had to look it up. Thank you for looking that up, Chris. Jim thinks about bacon 4 times a day. That's a lot to think about bacon. Okay, bi-weekly, weekly. Dr. Jim. I'll look at all of you. And Cheryl's here. Okay. So I want to get back into this because definitely I want to talk about the fact that your personality will define how this affects your life, right? And for some people, when they realize that, oh my God, it's too much, like that's when it's okay to compartmentalize and come up with lists and the time blocking. And Leslie's really good at that. On the last time you were on the show, what is it? You do no meeting Monday?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But do you think that helps you with the rest of your week and the fact that you have so much and so many things and you want to learn and do all the things? Does that help keep you grounded?
Oh, absolutely. So the way that I structure my Mondays is not just no meeting Monday. Although in my last job, we had no meeting Wednesday. So I think even if you're in a corporate environment, you don't own your own time. I think there is tremendous value in blocking at least half a day where you do not have any internal meetings and preferably no external meetings. And while it might take some like boundary setting and expectation setting, all of you have the power to do that. So do that. The way I am able to own my Mondays as a business owner, as a full-time founder, is I spend them in self-reflection. I spend them centering myself. So it is both a day where I stay very focused. I meditate, I journal for 2 to 3 hours. I pull my cards, I work out. I usually take like a midday bath. I read my book. It is a day where I have a singular focus, and that focus is centering me and being intentional about how I spend my time. But I also, can read every book I want. And if I don't want to read a book, I can go for a walk. Or maybe I don't want to read my book at home and I go, read my book in a coffee shop. So there's still some, I think some of that like multi-hyphenate personality showing that I like to mix it up sometimes. But to your point, having a one day of the week that is really focused on like nesting and rooting does mentally help me approach the other 4 days of the week where I am very, very busy and switching tasks a lot, with more clarity and more intention.
I know that you're going to have to like guess with this, and this is a crazy question, but how many tasks do you think that you would like switch between in a day?
I don't know. I can like look at my calendar. Well, so let's see. Last week on my calendar, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colors, which means I was doing 10 different types of tasks throughout the week. But I time block a lot of tasks. So like this week is a perfect example where Tuesday and Wednesday were really, really heavy on learning activities. So I was doing different types of things. I'm in a small business administration program. I was doing that. I'm in Pavilion's Enterprise CRO school. So I was doing different types of learnings, but I was learning, like that was the set of activities I was pretty much focused on for 2 days. And then yesterday and today have been LinkedIn Lives Pods webinars. So it's a lot of different ones, but I'm sort of in the zone on the same task. But that has been a response to my default. And my default is like, squirrel.
Same.
So the way I structure my days and the way I organize my time now is a direct response to knowing that if I'm just left up to my own devices, I
never get anything done.
Yeah, I will be all over the place. And I think it's important to say, because sometimes people still believe that multitasking is a thing. And it isn't. I mean, not that we don't multitask, that is the nature of being human. Yeah, but if you are trying to multitask, and I mean, this kind of leads to the topic about like, if you're trying, you cannot all do it all well, but if you are trying to multitask, it means you are doing both tasks subpar. Like you're not executing either of them to your full potential. And it ultimately costs you productivity. And I think that's much different than what we were told our entire, like, I remember having multitasking as one of my bullet points on my CV when I was a recent grad. Like, and I'm an excellent multitasker. And now if I saw that if I was hiring, somebody had that on their CV, it would be a red flag for me.
Take the skills section off your resume. Like those generic skills, we know you have them. Take them off. If you are like, oh my God, I have to have them or you can't like not live without them, put them at the bottom. Keep them there if like you have to have them. But I'm telling you, as somebody who does job search strategy sessions with clients and I have much success, I help them get new roles. When we removed the skills section from the resume, interviews skyrocketed because nobody got time to read that generic crap. It's generic crap on your resume. Take it off. Sorry, that's my little rant.
No, it's important. It's like the starting emails with I hope you're well. It does not tell me anything and you don't actually give a heck about me. And just like people scan emails, let's be honest, recruiters and hiring managers, coming from a hiring manager 15 years, we scan resumes. So if you're wasting some of the most valuable space at the top of your CV with generic traits that are like the things everybody is expected to have, I'm probably not spending much more time reading what's below that.
No. And y'all, the other thing, I got to say this really quick. If you're applying for a job and you know it's a little bit of a stretch, sending in your normal typical resume and just sending in your normal typical resume isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to find out like the biggest way to stand out apart in front of the pack that you ever possibly could have if you're not literally like an 11 out of 10 right now for a role. So if you're not willing to put forth the work, I would challenge you that you don't really want it enough. And then really quick, Leslie, you didn't know I was going to do this, but I got to do this. And I'm not getting paid to do this, but shout out Apollo.io. What's up, Apollo? We love you. Okay.
Correct. I also love them.
I know you do too. I had to make a post today because all the Zoom Info people are in my inbox, including their chief marketing officer. So people start tagging Zoom Info, let them know we're live talking about them live.
I'm taking a call with him. That's a no-brainer.
Oh no, I don't want to call with him. He wants me to stop talking smack about Zoom Info on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I make no promises that I will do that, but I'm not gonna. They're a $1 billion company.
I hear you, but what is like? I mean, he offered to give me Zoom Info.
Also, their sales reps are. Everybody makes fun of them.
Their sales reps are like rude. That's my whole problem with Zoom Info. I dealt with like a really rude sales rep, didn't like the way it was handled, and Just thought it was super shitty. And I know a few people who've worked there who didn't love it. It's just, listen,
as you may see from my title here, I do sales training.
Yes.
So,
hire Leslie. She come in and help you.
Right. If we're talking about multi-threading, it's a $1 billion company with a large sales team. And I know they have some growth goals that they are missing. And I know they have some skill sets and mindsets that need to be leveled up on. So yeah, go ahead and tag in some executives over at Zoom Info, folks.
Yeah, Zoom Info. Hire Leslie and I'll stop talking smack.
Yeah,
maybe potentially. Maybe potentially. It's not a promise. It's a potential.
Once I train them and they do better, then we will stop talking smack. Yes.
Listen, I just love the people at Apollo. It's such a good team over there.
Yeah.
Really, really just good community people there. And we definitely got people tagging Zoom Info and wanting the tea. So there you go, Jamie. If you want more of the tea, Jamie, go check out Daniel from Apollo. Dan, go check out all of Dan's posts. Or look at the hashtag Apollo versus Zoom Info. You can find some of my posts if you search hashtag Zoom Info sucks. There's some other stuff too, but there's a ton of stuff, Jamie. You can find all of it. All right, we're gonna get into time management now. I know we kind of talked a little bit about time management in terms of time blocking Leslie's calendar, but more than just work, Leslie, I know we're talking about how it's impossible to do it all, and we're going to get into the fact that sometimes one part of your life struggles while other parts don't. I want to talk about time management in terms of how do you stay true to yourself in time management, holding yourself accountable and not letting it slip, right? Like, I think we're all guilty of that, especially as working women. Yeah. How do you hold yourself accountable in that sense?
Yeah, a couple of ideas that I can share with folks. If it is time management in a professional sense, I really recommend having a KRA, which is a key result area. So really taking the time to get tremendous clarity on what is the number one deliverable that you have at work. It's usually a bit easier for sales pros because it's literally like X amount of meetings or X amount of revenue, right? Like we have very clear metrics. But even if you're not in sales, get really clear about the most important deliverable that you have against your name, the thing that is going to get you that raise, get you that recognition, get you that promotion. And everything you then do needs to be measured against that KRA. I love Stephen Covey's urgent V important matrix, or people also can Google it. Just Stephen Covey, urgent V important, but you may have heard it referred to as the Eisenhower matrix as well. I think that's a really, really good way to understand how you're spending your time and which tasks are actually important to achieving your KRA, and then figuring out where you should spend maybe less time or what you should eliminate altogether. So KRA, if it's completely professional. If it's broader life goals, I picked up a term a couple of years ago. It was maybe off like a Blinkist or a podcast. I wish I could give attribution, but I literally don't know where I heard it. But the term is philosophy of ambition.
Okay.
And yeah, right. Like it's there's something there. It's kind of a beautiful phrase, and to really think about the philosophy of your ambition. Are you working 60 hours a week right now because you want to retire early, because your goal is to, spend more time with your adult children? Are you, working that 60 hours a week because the philosophy of your life is to be able to maybe financially support your parents later? Right? So like, I think we sometimes demonize like, 35, 40 hours a week and then be out. But maybe something in your bigger philosophy of ambition tells you that the way you're managing your time right now, that it's okay to be, working 60 hours a week, or maybe it's okay to be making some short-term sacrifices and like doing that fun thing because you're growing a passion project to set you up for that bigger success that aligns to your philosophy of ambition. So I just think that's kind of a lovely way to approach how you're spending your time. It was like a really big pivot for me. It was one of the catalysts to leave corporate, because my choices were either like go into this head of revenue role for a large but growing organization where I probably would have been working like 60 to 80 hours a week. I would have been making like $500,000. But it was like, are you willing to work 80 hours a week and not do anything else? Like not see your family, not root your relationships with your friends, like not work out, not prioritize your mental health for the money. And I realized that that was no longer a trade I was willing to make. And I had to go back to my philosophy of ambition, which is freedom to like own my time, freedom to choose who I work with, the type of work I do, the type of people I associate with as my sort of personal KRA. And I had to make some different choices as a result. Scary choices, but
very scary.
Ones. Yeah.
Very scary, but you were brave enough to make them. The other thing I want to point out quickly is that what works for one person in terms of time management might not work for the next person. And that's perfectly okay and acceptable. We all have very, very different lives. So like Leslie said, you don't know what somebody else is working towards. You don't know what their goal is. You don't know, well, unless you built the relationship and done the work, right? But you, for the most part, probably don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So the next time you come across somebody who, in your opinion, is working too much, or in your opinion, doesn't see their friends, or you're like, hey, I've invited you out 3 times and you've said no. You don't know. Maybe they have some super big goal or ambition that they're keeping quiet, that they're working on behind the scenes, or maybe they have something going on in their personal life that they don't feel comfortable sharing. So in terms of time management, don't think about somebody else's timeline or time frame as having to be the same as yours. And then also remember that sometimes work can be an escape for some people. So sometimes when people are going through things, like they like to work, it helps them. So I remember after I had my son, he was in the NICU. I went back to work while he was in the NICU. And some people were like, how are you going back to work? It helped me. It distracted me. That was something that I did for me that some people didn't understand, but it helped me. It was my time management for me and for my mental health. So don't judge what other people do, I guess is what I'm saying in the most part, like in a roundabout long.
No, it's good advice. Don't assume that just because it's what works for you, it should be what everybody else is doing, because we all are different with our own philosophies of ambitions and our own, wants, needs, dreams, hopes, all of that. And I feel like in general, I think you'll probably agree with this one, that one of the things that really irks me now is when people jump into helper mode when I have not asked for help. It's always bothered me, but I feel like the older I get, the more I guess I assume I hope that people will have like read the room a little bit and developed their like active listening and communication skills. Like, as they know, it's a bad boundary. It's an untrue assumption, but like to your point about don't judge what other people are doing about like by your own expectations. I think also don't start giving advice to them about how they need to work less and how you started working less before asking them if that is even helpful. Because even if you feel like you are trying to do something to help them, how it is often received is judgment, because you are centering your experience and not their experience in the conversation.
Well, I also tell people all the time, I have conversations with my friends, right? And it's like, do you want me to solve it or do you want support? Okay. So if you're ever having a conversation with someone and you don't want to ask them, do you want me to solve it or do you want support? Go with support first. Just go with being supportive to whatever that person is saying first. get them on board with you, and then they might ask you to solve it. And then you can give your advice or your opinion that you really wanted to give anyway.
Yeah.
And you get to do it in a way where they asked for it. It's like making them think it's their idea, right? Like
Yeah.
support them in a sense that they feel like they could ask you to solve their problem rather than just jumping in and saying, oh, I've been there. I can fix that. I know how to do that. Okay, cool. Good for you, bro. Like, no, we don't want to hear that.
Cool, right? I mean, let's be honest. Most of the time when I am complaining to my husband, my darling, darling husband, I do not want him to try to solve it for me. I want him to be like, yeah, Sharon is a bitch.
Exactly. Just say that it sucks too.
Right? Like, I just want somebody to take my side. And so I feel supported and I feel validated. And sure, maybe the conversation will go to, okay, but, how are we going to get through that situation? But at first, I just want like absolute support, unquestionable support.
Just tell me I'm right and I'm pretty and give me a taco and we're going to be fine.
Accurate.
Mark says that he likes the Eisenhower matrix. And then he says, what is age? Just depends on your goals and your happy space. I agree, Mark. I made a post a few weeks ago about how you are like a fine wine. You do get better with age. You can reinvent yourself at any decade, at any point in your life, right? Like, what was it? Colonel said the KFC guy wasn't KFC until he was like in his 60s. Like all of those people, like any age, any time, do what you want to do. If I decided I want a new career tomorrow, I might go get a new career tomorrow. You never know. Because I can. And life is short and fleeting and do what you want.
Like I know that we celebrate age a lot in our cult, like young age, like young people. We celebrate being young and youth a lot. But also let's acknowledge that the like Forbes 30 under 30 list, I wish I could remember the exact amount, but like 17 of them have been charged with felonies and have been accused of stealing like something insane. Like somebody should look up this article and drop the comment, but have been accused of like stealing like $3 billion, if it's higher than that, like $13 billion worth of money. So youth isn't all that, folks. And sometimes in your 30s, you need to completely abandon the professional goals that you had for yourself your entire life and completely pivot your focus. And then you get to be a six-figure, you get to run a six-figure agency running a 4-day work week.
Wow.
Yeah, Mark, look up that article. It's like, it's a crazy one.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Like I can't even begin to imagine that. All right, y'all. We're more than halfway through the show. We have 2 more topics to talk about. I know it's 3:38. It's from my time, 2:38 your time, I believe. Right? 2:38 your time?
Yes.
You're an hour. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I just looked it up. 5.3 billion is the amount. They have been arrested for frauds and scams worth, 18.5 billion.
What?
So not only do we all age like fine wines, just be careful who you are modeling what good looks like and what success looks like, because to your earlier point, Lauren, you never know what's going on behind the curtains. And that can be both a call to be gentle with people and to reserve judgment, but can also be a call to remember that a lot of what people are presenting externally may not be an honest representation of what is actually happening behind the curtains.
So much. Y'all, I think I talked about it. I don't know if it was last week or I guess it was, I don't know. Leslie, I don't know if you saw it, but I made this post about how I filmed a video of myself eating a cookie or like a piece of cake. Eating a piece of cake for breakfast. Like I filmed it. I was gonna post it. Cheeky video. It's also fake. I only eat cheesecake for breakfast when I'm depressed as shit, when my life is not going well, when I don't have the capacity to make my favorite meal of the day, which is breakfast that I love to cook. Like it's all a lie. It's all a lie. Social media is curated and fake for your enjoyment.
Sorry, your favorite meal of the day is breakfast, and we're not saying like breakfast for dinner, like literally breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Girl, I can throw down for breakfast. You want an omelet? You want some homemade biscuits? What do you want? I got you.
Coffee. Black coffee, please.
Okay, well, I can make that too. In a French press, best you've ever had. No, for real. Breakfast is one of my favorite things. When I grew up, it was like very important. My family, we did a lot. So the one meal we typically always did have together in the day was breakfast. And my parents would wake up. I'd wake up to the smell of like bacon and sausage and eggs every single day, y'all. During the week, every day, I'd wake up to that. And it was just important to me. Memories, y'all. Yeah. Memories. So anyway, I made this whole post and the whole thing was completely fake. And that's another, okay, so we're going to talk about this really quick. That's another reason Rachel May and I started that Get Ready With Me live on LinkedIn show. Because y'all, hold on, I'm going to switch really quick. Hold on, me. Okay, you see like pretty makeup and all this? Yeah, like this is like, this takes time and effort and work. And this isn't what I show up like in the morning. This isn't what I roll out of bed and look like. And it's okay to show up as you every day, every step of the way, any moment. And you don't have to be this. Like, to me, the makeup is like the formatting on the resume, right? Like the guts are there and it's good and it tells a story, but I want the formatting to look perfect. So I put the makeup on top. But we started that show so that women could feel like you can show up as you. And it's okay. And we're crazy women. We're putting our makeup live on LinkedIn. Like, we both looked at each other right before we went live on Wednesday, Leslie, and we were like, we're really going to do this, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you asked me if I wanted to ever be a guest, and it was an immediate no.
Immediate no.
I love the premise, though. I love the premise. And most days I don't wear makeup because I simply cannot be bothered to dedicate time to putting makeup on. I'm more of a like day 6 dry shampoo tinted moisturizer sort of girl.
Did you wash your hair this week? You were supposed to film a video for me the day you washed your hair.
I didn't. No. Can you see? It's probably just stuck. Yeah. It's just like stuck. Yeah. No, I didn't. I have to watch it tomorrow because I have like a nice date night with my husband. So I'm going to need to like look presentable. But no, Lauren, I haven't done that yet.
All right. I only wash my hair on Fridays for the show, y'all. Fridays for the show. Like Friday, that's it. Dry shampoo the whole week, Friday for the show. If you're lucky. If it's in a ponytail, didn't get washed on Friday for the show.
I like it though. I think it's awesome that you're doing that. And I think that it is a fun way to approach what is actually a really important conversation. Because there's a lot of data out there that I don't have it in front of me, but it's something like the average man spends 17 minutes getting ready and the average woman spends like 58 minutes getting ready. So like that time is being sucked out of our day. And that obviously compounds. And there are very real consequences to not showing up with your hair done and with your makeup done that will have a negative impact on your career. Yeah, for sure. Like not only the microaggressions. Oh, are you getting tired? Are you sick? Not only the microaggressions, but like the very real, like you will be excluded because you don't look like you should be client facing or because you don't look professional. So I think it is a delightful way to hopefully encourage women to be confident however they want to show up and to maybe start a bit of a conversation about how freaking unfair it is that for us to look professional, that means showing up with our hair down, curled with a full face of makeup on, when that takes an hour to do instead of being able to roll out of bed and walk out of the house like many of our male counterparts.
It really does. It takes forever. And it was so funny. Mostly we had men show up and a number of them were like, oh my God, look at all the effort that it takes to go into this. I was like, yes, you don't know. Yes. Courtney agrees. She says, Leslie, black coffee is the breakfast of champions. We all knew that Leslie was a champion, but now Courtney, we know you are a champion as well.
I love it, Courtney.
Dr. Jim, Red Bull is the breakfast of champions. Gross. I got rid of the Red Bull habit. I kicked it finally. Mark says he has to have coffee and food. I'm with you. I need caffeine plus food. Cheesecake is part of a healthy diet, Jim, just not for breakfast when you're depressed. Mark, Cocoa Pebbles. I like Cocoa Pebbles, but I don't eat cereal for breakfast.
There's also no way that there is less sugar in Cocoa Pebbles than there is in cake.
Yeah, probably not. Not at all. All right, 2 more topics we got to jump through. So this one's an important one to talk about today. So we're going to talk about the teeter-totter. Y'all know what we're talking about. When one part of your life is thriving, you typically have another part of your life that's not so hot, right? And we already talked about social media is fake, so we're not probably sharing with you the part of our lives that's not so hot. But let's talk about really how that affects your mental, what you can do when you're going through one of these phases. You know, it's going to make me big again. Let's switch this out. But let's talk to everybody about when you're on that teeter-totter. Really, what do you do, Leslie?
Well, I think give yourself some grace is probably the first thing. Acknowledge that that's just the human condition, that we can't be all the things to all the people, that we can't be all the places at once, but we, I think, kind of universally aspire to. When we were hashing out this topic, I immediately thought of a job I had a couple of jobs ago, and I was crushing it. Like, I was absolutely crushing the job. I had created an MVP at a startup. I'd launched the GTM. We were scaling to 0 to 1 rapidly. Like, externally, you would have thought that I was just king of the hill. But what was happening behind the scenes is that I was working 80, 100 hours a week to deliver those results. Like, I was in a pretty serious conflict with the absentee founder. So I was working my tail off because my name was against the outputs, but I was really mad all the time because I was doing all this hard work for somebody that I didn't really respect. I was so exhausted at the end of the day that I didn't want to talk to my family. On the weekends, I didn't want to go out with my friends. I just I deeply craved a little bit of time where I could have nothingness. So it was this moment in time where I was not just hitting these professional KPIs, I was knocking it out of the park, but at the expense of everything that was important to me in my personal life. And I think my brain immediately jumped to that, Lauren, because I wasn't super active on LinkedIn at the time. So I didn't show as much of myself then as I do now. But the comments that I would get again and again and again were always just oh my God, you're doing so well. Oh my gosh, it's so impressive. Oh my gosh, I wish I could be like you. I'm like, do you? That's pretty dicey over here. And I share that story because I feel confident that I'm not the only one that has maybe made those types of choices or felt like I was failing in that instance. I was failing at being a friend and a daughter and a wife, but I was really thriving doing something else.
I feel like I completely understand that sentiment, right? Because at the same time, when one thing is going well, everybody says, oh my God, look at this. You're so amazing, Lauren. I feel like maybe not every, but the majority of times in my life that I've had someone say, oh my gosh, Lauren, so incredible. You're doing so great. Those are always the times when I feel like I'm struggling the most. And I probably look like I'm doing so well on the outside because I am literally leaving part of something so important behind to focus all of my effort and all of my energy and all of my attention. And to the outside world, oh my God, it looks so amazing, Lauren. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's that's why I have to reach out to the people who I think look like they're doing phenomenally all the time and say, I see you. Are you okay?
Right.
And I will say, big shout out to Katie Penner. She did a great job of this at SaaStr. I'm not going to talk about the conversation in depth, but she went up to someone who clearly always looks like they're doing okay and was like, hey, I see you. Are you really okay? Like having somebody take that moment with you is important. And it was impactful to other people just to watch it happen. So remember that the next time you ask somebody or you tell somebody, "Oh my God, you're doing so amazing," they might be struggling underneath.
Yeah.
Maybe ask if they're okay too.
Certainly they are struggling underneath.
Yeah.
Like none of us are getting it right all of the time, full stop. Like show me one person who feels like they are getting it right across, all relationships and aspects of their life, right? Like that person doesn't exist. But it's easy for us to convince ourselves that that's how everybody else is living and we're the exception.
It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what your job title is. It doesn't matter. That thing that you think is going to make you feel better doesn't exist. You have to make you feel better.
Yeah.
You got to turn inside and look in here. Ooh, therapy session on a Friday.
Truth telling.
All right, we got one more topic. I'm going to drop it back on the bottom. So Leslie's TikTok is really funny, and I'm only going to bring it up really quick because Mark dropped it in the comments before we started.
Thanks, Mark.
About you reading your bad, cringeworthy LinkedIn post. And he did ask one, he said, can you do it on the show? But it was very short notice, so I didn't ask you. But like, when are we going to see a new one? I will ask that.
You don't even know this, but you like really teed me up. I am like days away from publishing the shit people say book inspired by cringeworthy LinkedIn posts.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, you did not even know. So you really, you teed me up. Mark, thank you. Lauren, thank you. I started writing the book last year as just a kind of fun, silly, creative project. And then the business really took off in a way that I didn't it moved much more quickly than I anticipated, which praise be. Thank you everybody for your support. Keep those referrals coming. But I put it on the back burner. And then this year, I think like many of us, I had a slower July, August. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to finish this fun project. So I did, and it is in final edits right now. And I will publish it soon. Perfect little holiday gift. Wink. Maybe for a peer that is a influencer or boss that maybe is the person that we're making fun of in the book.
Oh my God. And they probably wouldn't even get it. That'd be so funny.
Probably wouldn't even get it.
So I love this. Now you go on my list of, I have it categorized by what everybody does. And you already have the LinkedIn Top Voice little badge there, but now you get author next to it.
Well, I'm already an author.
Well, no, I know, but now I get how many now?
2-time author. This will be book 2.
Well,
and I have another book coming.
What are the statistics of how many people make it to book 2 if they put out book 1?
I don't know. Andy Paul, how many people publish more than one book?
Dr. Jim says, is the link in your bio?
1 to 2%.
Damn, Leslie, you're in the top 1 to 2%.
That's really small. Andy Paul,
that is really small,
who I'm actually recording a session with right after this, and everybody should follow because he is just an incredible thought leader, and not in a cringy way, just literally has thoughts that are worth following. He told me years and years ago to stop thinking about writing a book as it being the book you're going to write, and start thinking about the bookshelf of books that will have your name on them. And that helped take a lot of pressure off of me. So the first book I did was a co-authored book. This book is a fun, creative project. Book 3 that I'm working on, that is more about my sales methodology.
She's already working on book 3.
Oh yeah, it's mostly written. But then I had to, for being very vulnerable, I had to get over some very serious imposter syndrome, self-doubt. Well, anybody I had to get over my own bullshit before I could recommit to going hard in the paint.
Most authors go through that.
Right?
If they're really telling their story,
yeah,
it's not just you, babe. It's not just you.
I found that thought from Andy really inspirational, that like every book doesn't have to tell your entire story, and it doesn't have to be like a repository of all your knowledge. It's just one book on your bookshelf. And nobody else can tell a story from your perspective, because you are literally the only one that has that lived experience and the unique perspective that's come out of it.
I love that. I love that. Okay, but for real, where is the link going to be for people to buy your book?
I'd self-publish on Amazon.
Okay, so are you going to put it on your bio and LinkedIn though?
I don't know.
We don't know, Dr. Jem. So
I don't know. My bio's getting a lot
of
of play. Maybe right now my bio is the link to the masterclass that Nikki, Ivy, and I are hosting
in Tampa
in November.
On the 7th, not the 3rd. On the 7th,
Lauren
not
will
the
be
3rd.
If you want to see Lauren and Leslie live, get your behind to Tampa. So maybe after that, because I need to keep eye on the like talking about inputs and multipotentialite and doing this and doing this. I'm writing a book. I'm hosting an event. Here's my business. One thing I know I can do is keep a single link in my bio until that project is done before I move on to my next thing.
Now he's saying put it in your featured content section, which is advice he gave me before too.
Yeah, my featured content sections go back to my business where I make money. And while I am excited about this book, you don't make money on it. I don't think that this is going to be the thing that pays the mortgage.
No. Typically people don't make that much money on books, y'all. Go do the research.
The opposite. I've learned throughout exploring this book writing for my book, the number 3 book, most people pay thousands of dollars to have their book published. They spend literally folks 50 to 80K to get their book published. And most folks never recuperate that. Yikes. Worth it because it's it's a demand gen, credibility. They're not trying to be famous authors, but it was a real punch in the gut for me, Lauren.
I hope you didn't spend 50K.
I spent zero. Well, that's not true. I spent money getting design for the cover and an editor, because I'm a terrible editor. So I spent I don't know, maybe $500 on this book. My first, the shit you should, shit people say on LinkedIn book. And I'll probably spend a bit more on the other book because I'll want multiple editors. I don't know. But definitely at no point will all of the books add up to $50,000 in money spent.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, never, 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 never.
Nope. Okay, y'all, we didn't even get to our last topic. We're just going to skip it. We'll talk about it the next time Leslie comes on, how to figure out what really matters to you when everything interests you.
I do have one thing to say. Hold on. So I was at Inbound last week and I got to hear one of my favorite authors speak, a woman called Arlen Hamilton, who's incredible. She has a book called It's About Damn Time that I think everybody should read or listen to it because she narrates it. But she said something, Lauren, that really stuck with me. And it was, she was asked this question: have one tree and focus on rooting deeply. And everything else you do should be branches off of that one core tree, that one core idea. Because the minute you start trying to plant new trees, the roots of your core tree start drying up.
I love that.
Powerful.
That is powerful. That's a good way to end the show, but we're not quite done yet. Do you remember what comes last?
Do you rapid fire me?
You don't remember?
No.
It's okay. Don't worry.
No, Lauren, I'm very popular. I do so many of them. Just kidding.
It's not going to be that scary. Okay, so for anybody else who's watching, you all know what comes next. Last thing, but I really want to show really quick. Courtney says, I desperately need to figure out what really matters to me because everything is interesting. Yes, many of us have this dilemma. Yeah. We will go back into detail about this. Y'all, Leslie has a reoccurring invite to come on the show. Whenever she wants, but I believe at some point she told me she'd come on every quarter. So
yes.
Once a quarter, I'm gonna twist her arm and have her come on. Everybody loves your metaphor that you gave. But yes, so the very last thing that we talk about, can you give us a fun
I do remember this
Friday fact? any kind of fact you want to give. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be business related.
No, I love fun facts. It will not be business related. Yeah. Okay. I would like to talk about flamingos.
Okay.
Because I know everybody thinks that they are this like dainty, pink, like cute, delicate little animal. Flamingos are one of the most resilient animals out there. They can drink boiling water. They can drink and process salt water. They can sleep in frozen water and then they just like wait for it to thaw out the next day and go on their business. Like they are as tough as it gets and so extraordinarily resilient. And I just love flamingos because I think it's such a nice representation of being beautiful on the outside, but that does not mean that you are not gritty and resilient on the inside.
I have so many questions. I have so many, like, when would a flamingo ever be in a place where he's sleeping in the ice? Now I need to go look up where do flamingos live? I'm so confused.
Everywhere. It turns out they live everywhere. I think they live on 5 continents.
How do you know so much about flamingos?
I like flamingos. That's like a little kid being like, I like dinosaurs.
Because it's cool, Lauren. I have a watch and lipstick. It's cool. No. Okay, y'all. We are after 4. We're going to wrap it for today. Leslie, thank you so much. Every time you come on, I have the best time. Y'all, we only have a few shows left this year. The last final episode is November 10th. I can't believe we're almost there. Next show you can catch me on is Get Ready With Me Live with Rachel and Lauren next week, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can watch me put my makeup on again. Maybe I'll put lashes on this time or something unique and interesting. Who knows? Maybe Leslie will tune in and watch and make fun of me in the comments and show up as LinkedIn user again because it never lets me see her name.
I know. It's so annoying. You know what you should take me in to do, though, is seriously like send me a list of the top brands of makeup that you use, the most expensive ones, and I will just come in hot and just take their social media managers. Yeah, right. Some of those products are expensive. Let's see if we can get some free ones.
Y'all, okay, I'll just start popping them up on the screen. Everybody start tagging them in.
Yeah.
And we'll get some makeup sponsorships. Okay, this is fun. Love you all. Like I always say, if you didn't like it, don't come back. Bye.